Hi Gemini, welcome to your October 2022 Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Gemini, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you, especially these monthly reports. And the reason being is whenever I'm talking about the astrology of the lunations that are taking place in this month, we're always looking at your ascendant first, to a lesser degree but still very relevant, your sun and your moon, which is why it's always worthwhile checking out at least your sun and your ascendant. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your actions and interactions with the world at large over the course of October 2022, let's have a look. See, you have the Four of Cups. So I'm going to say this to you, right? This month could be a month where you finally snap yourself out of a funk, whether this is something that you've been working on, over or through. This could also be a time where maybe you're looking too much at the thing or the detail of a situation. And the reason I say this is the Four of Cups very often shows up when there are surprises on their way in for us that we haven't really factored in or that we don't expect. So this is actually a month where if you're bogged down with something, or if you feel kind of like a bit miffed or a bit peeved about something that's taking place or not, as the case may be, try to find a way to let that go, because whatever you want or need is literally just on its way around the corner, on its way into you. I will also say, in terms of what you're doing this month, snapping yourself, snap out of it, snap yourself out of that funk, right? Get out of it, quick time. This is a time to move forward and ultimately address whatever emotional stagnation, I was going to say stagnability. I have no idea what that word is. And I like to make up words, but yeah, this could be really ridding yourself of some financial stagnation this month. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Seven of Pentacles. There's a lot of conversations about money, finances, resources this month. For a select few of you as well, something that you've been working on really hard is ready for release. So this is about you starting to get things out there, starting to push things out into the world or share them. I would also say as well, because it is the Seven of Pentacles, and because it's your communication sector, which is also your work, this is a time for you to really take stock of everything that you've done and built up until this point. I would seriously actually consider that this really might be a month where starting to put the feelers out for certain connections would be a really good idea. All right, but there's a lot of big conversations happening this month about money, finances, resources. For some of you, you are literally putting those finishing touches on whatever it is that you've been working on, and you're ready to start bringing things more into the public eye, certainly for those of you that are business owners. Whereas if you are an employee, this could be a time where you are taking stock of what you've done within your industry or your your institution, let's say, and it could see you really kind of, you know, for some of you, maybe you're having a conversation with a boss this month to say, you know what, I really don't feel like I'm being appreciated. I really don't feel like I'm making any real progress here. Like, am I ever going to be able to progress here? I gotta say to you, because of that Four of Cups, it's probably closer at hand than you think. At that moment where you feel like you're stagnating, usually there's a breakthrough. And I will say that I kind of feel like this might be the case this month. So if you are having a conversation with a boss, try not to let it be like, I'm underappreciated, I hate this, I'm because if you do all of that, the chances are you know, well, I don't say they're going to hold back from you, but when it comes, you might kind of then feel a bit like sheepish. So just be a little bit more patient this month. For your heart and half, your love and relations, you've got the Ten of Wands. For a lot of you, this is literally like the release of a burden, right? So the thing with the Ten of Wands as well, for those of you that are partnered, married or in long-term commitments, there could be some conversations this month It may see you saying to a significant other, I actually feel quite put on, or I feel like you're not hearing me. The Ten of Wands in relationships, on a heavier sort of note, can literally be where somebody talks at us rather than to us. And so for those of you that are in relationships, this may very well be a month where you're really feeling that. And this month you might actually say something to say, look, you know what? The way that you're being with me needs to change or needs to adapt. It might be you that needs to lead that discussion. For those of you that are single and looking with the Ten of Wands, honestly, look, you've got this with the Seven of Pentacles. Somebody that is comfortable and or familiar to you could feature this month. It may be a moment where you kind of have a little slip. We've all been there before. It's just like, I just want someone. I really laugh because I read something the other day that really had me in stitches, and it was like, well, we're coming into the autumn and the winter now, so it's cuffing season. Most people want to be snuggled up so that they can spend the winter with someone. You need to ask yourself, is what you had with this person, is it genuinely what you need? Because remember, you've got Mercury, which, all right, on the 2nd of October goes direct, but it will still be in its post-retrograde shadow. On top of that, you've got Mars in your sign going retrograde. Be not careful, but just be conscious about treading old ground this month. And if you're going to do it intentionally rather than as a knee-jerk reaction. For your money and materials, you've got the Five of Cups. I'm really sorry to say this, but it does look like you have an expense coming up this month, and it's one that you're not really going to be able to get out of. Usually with the Five of Cups, it's something that we can't ignore, like the washing machine breaks down, or our car brakes need to be fixed, or there's something here. This month you're going to lose a chunk of money. Don't fret, because it is for something that you need. So ultimately it's not like you're, literally losing like a wad of cash. It's just usually a surprise expense that comes up, and it's like, oh, really? This is coming up now. Oh, speaking of, oh my gosh, yeah, I've got my car tax to pay this month. Damn it. Which, interestingly enough, so I'm talking about that. I have, you know what? It's not even relevant, Raf. For your first week of the month, you've got the Fool card coupled with the Four of Cups. I said it, right? There's some really good news on its way into you that's going to help snap you out of, not complacency, but that feeling of like, well, I'm doing everything that I can, I'm showing up where I can, and it's like, what I want or what I need just isn't happening for me. There is something on its way into you that you're not expecting, and when it comes, it will give you so many reasons to smile. Start inviting that in by starting this month as bright and optimistic as you possibly can. For the second week of the month, you've got the High Priestess with the Seven of Pentacles. You've got some splaining to do. Gemini, what are you working on behind the scenes? And there is something, you're initiating some new project that you're not talking about. You're doing this very much behind the scenes, and it is something that you are working on. For some of you, it looks like night and day. It's like something that you're really putting a lot of time and effort in. You're not talking about it right now. You're just doing it. Like, you're very in this thing. And maybe that's why you feel like there's not enough progress being made, because usually Gemini is like, ow, it's over. It's like whatever you're doing is always a part of your experience. You're talking about it. You're sharing it. This is so crazy, because I know somebody who has a strong Gemini, and I know he's watching this right now, and he's like, it's your fault, bitch. So I'm just smirking at that, because it's like, yeah. So whatever you're working on, it's very much behind the scenes. You're not really getting to share it at this moment in time, but whatever you're working on is going to be super successful. So I'm very happy for you. For your I will say as well, because the Fool card with the High Priestess, that is usually something that's initiated at a time or in a space that we're not really aware of or paying attention to. So with this, you've got the moon cards with the 10 of wands. If you are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, this could be a shaky week for a relationship. I'm really sorry to say that, but you know, I got to call a spade a spade. The moon card with the 10 of wands, this is like something that and potentially for some of you, this could be a recurring issue that keeps coming up in the relationship. It's like, it comes up, you talk it out, you know, maybe you brush it to the side, you don't really address the root problem or the root cause. And I am going to say this, as we come into October, from October right through to December, you're going to start to feel the energies of 2023 making themselves known, right? So over the course of this next 3 months, you're going to start to feel the 7 energy of 2023 start to come into motion and into play. If you are covering things up or sweeping them under the carpet to make things easier for yourself, all you're doing is potentially delaying the inevitable. And it's kind of like, it's like putting one of, you know, like when you put those Mentos things into a bottle of Coke and it just, you know, pisses everywhere. It's like putting one of those in a bottle of Coke and then putting the cap on really quickly. What do you think is going to happen? The second you start to open that thing, it's just going to explode. If you start brushing stuff under the carpet now, as you get into 2023, when it comes to partnerships, relationships, and significant others, you're potentially making things really hard for yourself at a later date. Now, that would be true anytime, all the time, right? But with a 7 energy coming in, oh, you don't want to go there. When it comes to those of you that are single, look, the moon card literally represents the past, right next to the high priestess, potentially a clandestine connection. With that 10 of wands, you know, sometimes it can't be helped. I'm gonna leave it there. For your 4th week of the month, you've got the Chariot card with the 5 of cups. My money is on the car. You won't have any problems with safety or anything like that, but my money is on the car. Your vehicle is likely to be the thing that costs you. With the other cards that are present, it's probably going to be either your tires or a recurring issue that you've had with your car. For your lunations, I've got the new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 6th house of day-to-day work, routines, body, health and maintenance. But the 6th house is really about how you maintain all of the things that you have. Interestingly enough as well, because the 6th house is very much about what you do like on that day-to-day level. And this is a new moon solar eclipse, so it's a fresh start, a new beginning. This is going to initiate or activate something to start happening or working in your life a lot more. Some of you could go on to, you know, this could be the time where you're starting to look at hiring people to do certain parts of things for your business if you have one. It could be where you really start to ramp things up a gear in your career or your daily life when it comes to your career, because this is you kind of saying, okay, what do I need to do to get to those top spots, to get to that recognition, to get that big expansion or growth that I'm looking for. Your card for that eclipse is the Gate 43 and ahead. I mean, look at that. I love this card. It's one of my favorites because the lady that designed this deck, when she sent me my deck, she said that this was the card that she designed for me. And so whenever I see it, I always get like a little bit goofy. And so basically the message behind this card is that new moon solar eclipse on the 25th of October is going to show you not only how you get ahead, but you're going to have a glimpse into the future. You'll be seeing something that nobody else can see. This could be an opportunity. It could be a niche that's opening up. It could be a space that needs to be filled that nobody else is doing. Pay attention at this time. So on the 9th of October, you've got the full moon in the sign of Aries. You've got the Gate 35 and experience. And that new moon for you is in the house of friendships. That new moon for you is in the house of day-to-day travel. Interestingly enough as well, the 3rd house is your car, your local commutes and stuff. I don't feel like you'll have a problem or an issue until you get to the end of the month though. So if something happens around the 9th on that full moon with your car, consider that that's a heads up to say this is what you're likely going to need to spend the money on. I just love this stuff. Like, so right now I'm like geeking out because it's like, oh, just there's been so many like yeah, I'm just so excited. The message behind this card is, do not take somebody's word for it. All right, have your own experience, have your own knowledge, do your own research. Now, usually Geminis will do their own research, but, and I say this out of all love, you have a tendency to just kind of get the short, sharp, immediate facts. You might need to dig a little deeper around this full moon. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes out. Take care, and I'll see you soon.